பேசு தமிழா பேசு குழுமத்தின் ஆன்மீக படைப்பு திருவருள் டிவி புது பொலிவுடன் டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல லிங்க் கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கு. கிளிக் பண்ணி சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க.
So we are celebrating Kargil, Vijay Diwas, 25 years of the war. I'd like to know what were you doing at that time and 25 years ago, and what were your thoughts when you heard about the war?
Madam, thank you so much for having me here, but more importantly, thank you to the Jammu and Kashmir Study Center. They have brought all of us together on one stage. One end we have the Veer Naris, even 25 years later. When they all, four of them climbed up the stage, they all had a bit of tears in their eyes. Anybody watching them could see what it means to them. And they are doing this every year for 25 years. People call them. They stand before such a big gathering. And I'm sure they're not doing it for themselves, madam, that we have to understand. Every time they stand here, they're trying to inspire one or two boys among this group or one or two girls among this group, so that they painfully understand that the price of freedom is slightly very big. It is not that easy. And thank all the Veer Naris for coming here and doing this every year. And every year it's a painful reminder for them also, because the children are growing up very fast. And we had very distinguished eminent gentlemen and women here, people who do different things in life. They all have chosen to come here. But more importantly, the glue that has bound us all, the Jammu and Kashmir Study Center. I always say, ma'am, when politicians make a mistake, the common man pays, or many cases the soldier pays. Jammu and Kashmir is that kind of a story. When somebody is tracking that state for the last 70 years, 75 years, what happened during the independence, pre-independence, post-independence, the phases Jammu and Kashmir went through, the rise of militancy, and our brave soldiers fighting a fight for us every single day there in the border. Because more than any other profession, it is the soldier. He never knows where the next bullet is going to come. And most of us with a certain probability can say we might not die for a certain time. But for a soldier, there is no probability, because it's a second. It is always there. The war is always looming. And you have two powerful neighbors, Pakistan and China, on two sides of India. And any time you are getting ready for a two-pronged attack. So the younger generation, especially such a big hall, thousands of children just graduating. For them it is very important that what is happening today in CMR, this institution, it is very important to them. Because this is the kind of moments I still remember when I was their age. Madam Kiran Bedi was in my college. And it was a similar event where she was speaking. I still vividly remember what she spoke and the kind of inspiration all of us got. I'm very sure the students here, with all the eminent speakers who spoke and the Veer Naris who are physically present, they get inspired today, because they will really believe there is something beyond their personal ego. When they graduate from CMR, they look forward to a grand stage where their talents are put to better use. Of course, making money is one, serving the society is another, and writing up a lot of historical wrongs is one. I'm sure this is that kind of an event, madam. For me, if you ask me where exactly I was in 99, May, June, July, that is the time I was in my 9th class, like my age group, somebody here. But this is a war, unlike many wars, the first time you saw it live. The Kargil war is very famous for the reason you saw it live. And every day the TV carried what is happening. And previous wars, you just read in a newspaper story. And probably it might come 1 day later, or 2 days later, or 3 days later. Peak of satellite channels. And you clearly know what is happening. And any martyred soldier coming back, the whole nation standing up, respecting them. So I don't think India before 1999 had a real-time version of what a war is. And we also got to understand during the 3 months, looking at television, looking at papers, the kind of price we as a nation are paying. Because you just had a pokhran, then straight away Vijay Diwas, 2 turbulent years. And more importantly, this is a war which you always felt, this war was thrust on us. Because this is a war where the enemy cunningly entered our territory, took all the vantage positions. Unlike a war where both of us fight on equal terms, this is a war we knew that any soldier at the first point of time is getting into that war zone, the enemy has got a vantage point. We are there just to sacrifice our lives. It is that kind of war. And fighting through that war and neutralizing the enemy, getting that vantage position back, And every single inch we gained, unlike some of the previous wars where we were by different powers. 1948, the United Nations intervened. 1961-62, the global powers intervened. But this is a war our soldiers made sure every single inch of soil was got back to our country. And that is why this war is very special to all of us. Because one, you saw it live, you know the kind of sacrifice the army soldiers they are paying. And more importantly, I believe the respect for the army went up multiple notches. I always believe a country which doesn't respect its soldiers, that country is inevitably doomed to fail. And when I came in, people are cheering loudly, happily. It is all okay because we do some small work here and there, and probably they feel happy that what we do resonates with them. But I believe when Senthil Kumar ji spoke, through camera, he's telling us a story of nationalism. That is very important. I think that is why you have called him. And all the cinematography that he has done through camera is filling you. You brought the former chief secretary here. It is impossible, you know, in the current government setup for a civil servant, 35, 37 years in his long journey, retiring with the word called integrity attached to them, retiring with the word called public service attached to them, because anybody can take a shortcut. That when you were chief secretary, they must be managing budgets of 250,000 crore and giving contracts worth thousands and thousands of crore, and sitting there displaying integrity and leaving that job. So it is a lesson for all the kids here. That is also a way to serve the country. Because end of the day, what do the soldiers see, madam? They are on the border. And they expect all of us to behave proper human beings. The soldiers expect all of us to behave with proper integrity. The soldiers expect all of us to stand behind them when the need comes. That is the only price a soldier is expecting. Nothing else is expected. Because normally we celebrate martyred soldiers, rightly so. That is very important. All the martyred soldiers we celebrate because their spirit has to live on. But we also have to understand, a soldier, the family pays a price. Man is a social animal. You take a man outside the family, you put him in a border area for 6 months, 1 year, with a 30-day leave every year. Just look at the mental trauma a person goes through. That is why 99% of civilians, normally they don't want to go through that grind. And many officers and many jawans and sepoys, when they serve an army, they voluntarily, willingly go through it. It is not that easy, madam. You are away from your, you don't even know what is happening back home. And I still remember when I was a SP, especially in Chikmagalur, so a lot of army soldiers were serving. We used to get letters after letters from their officers because they have a family problem, they have a land dispute, and somebody wants to take care of their father, and they keep writing letters because they can't come and see. So we have to understand, the army, anybody who is serving, anybody who has served, anybody who has given their life, they go through something which a normal human being is not willing to go through. That we have to appreciate. And second, your mind is always in a trauma. That when you are serving in the border area, you just don't know when there is a mood for war, when the next bullet is going to fly. That is why I am extremely delighted and happy. At this age, they are the formative age, 21, 22, 23, they have thousands of choices before them. And these kids in the next 2 years, literally they have thousands of choices, from startup to civil service to army to going abroad for studies, being in the country and studying, getting into politics, thousands of choices. Now, this kind of events help these kids to make a wise choice. That is why it is important that all the eminent people have come, then people like me also get an opportunity to express my thoughts, because they make a wise choice. Now is the time they make a real play between money and prestige and service and what path they have to take, so they have to stick on to the next 35, 40 years. So this war is very etched in our memory. And I remember as students, we were collecting funds for Kargil. We all used to carry the small, in Tamil we call undiyal and hundi. I remember as a school student that we all stood in the street, went from shop to shop, collected that money. Then from the school we mobilized all that money, gave it to the collector. The collector was kind enough to come, collected that money. The memory that stands. But more importantly, the pride and respect for a person in uniform. Maybe that could also be a motivation for me also get into a different uniform service. But unlike them, their sacrifice is so high. So that is why today is a day we bow down to them, we pay our respects to them, especially to the Nari Shaktis. After 25 years, still every time you bring them, the tears come out, the children have grown, and somebody who just got married, husband into war, somebody, child was small, now the child is growing up without a father. So I bow down my head to all of them. I hope and pray the students who have come here, and this 3 or 4 hours, whatever has happened now, you take it to your heart, capture it somewhere and store it in your heart. Every day this will not happen, madam. Tomorrow this is not going to happen. Next week not going to happen. So you got to find a way to bottle this emotion in your heart. Just keep it. And every time you have a bad day, just remember there is somebody in the border who's having a worse day than you. And every time you believe life is not fair to you, just remember there is somebody standing in the border for whom the life is also not fair. Because many a time they eat chocolates at minus 40 degrees Celsius. You do a helicopter drop. Even for a tea, they have to take up ice and just brew that tea and drink it. And like you and me, they can't even afford a proper meal. People who are serving in the high altitude area. So just bottle that emotion up. This spirit, the moment that all of our hairs are edged up, when we all standing up, we all felt a genuine sense of pride, patriotism. If you can bottle it up and every day keep remembering, this is what my country is. There is somebody out there who's sacrificing for me to live a good life. Then we become better individuals. I remember Abdul Kalam ji in European Union Parliament, he said, when a person at the individual family level is good, the family becomes better. Then the peace and harmony starts coming to the society. When the society becomes better, the country starts becoming better and better. Then you get a global world. So everything, the beginning is an individual. I hope and pray this kind of events today, what happened, it gives that spirit to that individual. Sorry for the long answer for a straightforward question, but I thought today is not about me. I think it is about the great people who are here, because thousands of people, we all do small work here. I still believe that spirit should get bottled up. That should not get lost a week from now or a month from now.
Right. That's what it is all about. Boys and girls, the younger generation, etch these days into your memory, bottle your spirit, and let's continue the good work. So one more thing I would like to know is, how has the geopolitical situation changed after the abrogation of Article 370 and, making Jammu Kashmir a free state now?
But I will not use this stage to talk politics, and in the sense, a traditional sense of politics. Making an accusation about somebody, and somebody making an accusation about the other party. I will not get into that, but I will take this opportunity to talk history. Because it's very important, people sitting here should understand what history is. And especially with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, what actually happened, and what has happened over multiple years, and what specially happened when Article 370 got abrogated. And Jammu and Kashmir is a very special place because of the nature of its location. What you call the geopolitics, geography and politics combined. It is located in an area where last 2000 years it was always a strategic vantage point. And many countries, many cultures, they all amalgamate, they are very closer. And Jammu and Kashmir being the entry point of Bharat. And if you look at the Agand Bharat also, from that side, it is always a very important area for trading, for all the foreign powers to try to, when they want to enter Bharat also, that was always a very important, passes were there. And naturally, every country will have an eye, right from the British time, the Pakistani time. So we have to understand, we all know the history post-independence. 1947, August, we got independence. There were some princely states who are not willing to join, because some states were ruled by kings, some princely states by nawabs, and somebody wanted to take that extra bit of time to understand where they really wanted to go, because this partition itself was something that is forced on our countries. India and Pakistan had something forced on you that, look, this is the line, beyond this line there is India, beyond this line there is Pakistan. In that context, we have to understand Jammu and Kashmir. Even when the Maharaja of Kashmir, Hari Singh, was still taking some time to come to a conclusion. You had the tribal attack, the so-called tribal attack, which Pakistan says, and we vociferously always said in the world stage, it is planned and orchestrated by the Pakistani army. It went to the United Nations, January 1, 1948. Then some kind of a resolution was brought in. Then they wanted a plebiscite. So long story. Then you had a government there which clearly felt that India should have two flags. Rest of India will have one flag. India will have two flags, meaning Jammu and Kashmir will have one flag. India will have two constitutions. The rest of the country will have a separate constitution. Jammu and Kashmir will have parts of constitution, Article 370 and Article 1, only two parts that is applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. When India will have a prime minister, Jammu and Kashmir will also have a prime minister, which you call the chief minister as a prime minister. So this was there for a long time. Then you have parties like Praja Parishad Party, which wanted to have national flag in Jammu and Kashmir, the tricolor flag as the flag. In 1951 elections, this particular party was disqualified. They couldn't fight the elections properly. Then the government came to power. So long story. So what I'm trying to say, madam, to come to this conclusion why Article 370 need to go, it is important we have to understand what built it up. In 1950, when Article 370 came for a short-term measure, and nobody had the courage to lift Article 370 for a long time, finally after 2019, August, it has to be done. So I only request the students here, it's a good time now to at least read the history of our country. I think when the gentlemen before us, they were talking, they mentioned, especially the Chief Secretary when he was talking, he mentioned, it is important we understand the history of this country in a proper letter and spirit. Be it Jammu and Kashmir, be it Northeast, be it parts, including Hyderabad has got a long history of struggle. If we don't understand it, then possibly, where will the patriotism for us come? Then again, Jammu and Kashmir had a long story. Then Chief Minister was dismissed, arrested. He was sent to my state for 11 years in exile. The 1975 agreement happened between Indira Gandhi ji and Sheikh Abdullah. Then 87 mass rigging of elections happened. Then probably the early signs of militancy started happening, which all led to this war. 1999, you have this Kargil war, which led to that, a geopolitical tension, where one country, the democracy was changing, the army was coming in Pakistan, the army wanted to show their power, that they are the people who will control Pakistan, they wanted to show they really mean business, then it led to that. What is the result? 527 are brave soldiers, brave hearts, they lost their life. A lot of geopolitical confusion, not adhering to a spirit, making sure the spirit of Jammu and Kashmir was killed at a particular point of time, because you had two constitution, two prime ministers, two flags, which in a civilized democratic country cannot coexist, and the absence of democracy, rigging of elections, banning of political parties, so everything led one after the other. Then you had the mass exodus. Kashmir Pandits, they left. You saw the blood killings, and anybody who has seen the Kashmir file story, they know that particular part of Kashmir's history. 1989, early part of 90s, till about 1999 it went. Then the 1999 war happened, for the whole world was watching what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, possibly in our generation, I think a lot of generation has waited, madam. Especially this generation with a lot of pride can say, August 2019, when 370 was abrogated, we said right to a historical wrong. The Constitution of India that is applicable to the rest of the country is going to be applicable to the whole of Jammu and Kashmir in letter and spirit. An historical wrong that was committed in 1950, which was inserted in our constitution, again 35A, 370 was removed, which made sure very small things. A woman born in Jammu and Kashmir, married outside Jammu and Kashmir, will have right to inherit a property there. Very small things. A person from outside Jammu and Kashmir entering Jammu and Kashmir has to get a pass to live in Jammu and Kashmir for a certain point of time. Again, a person who is in Jammu and Kashmir who belongs to the SC/ST community doesn't have India's SC/ST Act that is not applicable to that particular person. Small things for a general population, but big things for that people. Which one clear stroke after abolition of Article 370, very first time we can say, last year 2022-23, close to 1,89 lakh people went to Jammu and Kashmir for the first time, who don't belong to Jammu and Kashmir as tourists. They wanted to see the beauty of Dal Lake. They want to see what this particular state is all about. So Article 370 abrogation has changed the complete nature of Jammu and Kashmir's geopolitics. Very first time you see the government in control. Very first time you don't see stone pelting. Very first time you feel the army are in better control, because end of the day the army can do their work, but at the civilian government, the people behind the army, they matters. You can't send our people in uniform to the harm's way, and you cannot expect them to be cannon fodder. As politicians are the powers to be in our country, you can't expect army to be the last resort as cannon fodder, going there, saving every time and coming. Now we can say, probably with a lot of certainty, 2019 August onwards, Jammu and Kashmir is entirely different. The geopolitics has changed. Very first time we sitting here can safely say, my uniformed men is not put in harm's way unnecessarily. Because as a country, they cannot pay for your sins. You cannot have thousands of troops there mobilized on the borders. They cannot pay for the sins of politicians here. They cannot pay for the sins of politicians' personal friendships in Kashmir in 1950 or 60s or 70s. Two different families in India having a particular friendship, and they cannot pay for their sins. So that is why it has changed the status quo, what was there for a long time. Possibly the elections that is going to happen now in Kashmir and Jammu and Ladakh, That will usher in a free democracy where people will freely elect their own representatives. Once democracy comes in, then I think everything will be settled. We are also seeing the historically high number of investments going in, companies getting started, employments coming up in a big way. I'm sure at least this generation, when they grow up, Jammu and Kashmir should be their number one choice of a tourist destination within our country. Instead of looking at Switzerland, looking at spending money there. Since 1,89 lakh people have chosen to go to Kashmir in 1 year, I'm sure when these kids grow up, when they have families, with their children, and they look at Jammu and Kashmir as a paradise on earth, truly it's a paradise on earth, anybody who has gone to J&K will vouch for it, and they will know the blood that all the soldiers and their families have paid for us over this many years should be worth it. I am sure we should make it happen. All of us have a role, madam. People like you, people like me, people sitting here. We all have a role to make it happen, which I am very sure will happen. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's visit Kashmir in the coming years and see paradise on earth. Right. Another thing I would like to know is the younger generation today don't understand what is POJK, what is China occupied Tibet and all of that. What is the current scenario, sir, of the situation there right now? Can we have an Akhand Bharat?
But Jammu and Kashmir, like we said, is so strategically positioned. The global players, everybody wanted to play a role there. So what we call the united country, we all know the map of our country, we all know the Kashmir map. But many a times it pains to see us when a truncated part of Kashmir is put in a public display. Many a times the Google also makes a mistake. You see a truncated version. You see, then they use two words called line of control, line of actual control, LOC, LAC. Then there is a word called POK, POK, occupied Kashmir. And the Pakistanis have such a brazen attitude. You go and see the textbooks. They call this as Indian occupied Kashmir, IOK. Then you have the China occupied Kashmir again, which is a part that is at the top part. Because it's such a strategically positioned area. Now we are very clear, even during this parliamentary elections also, different political parties, it was becoming a big issue. When will our country will see a unified whole Kashmir? When will it happen? And we believe, even if you see, madam, the current parliament, the law that is passed for the elections to be conducted in Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, we are very clear it has to be unified elections. We can only conduct elections as per the current scenario. But the government of India has clearly marked out the representatives from all parts of Kashmir. Though at this point of time it could be a Pakistan occupied Kashmir. At this point of time it could be a POK. But in the act that we have passed in the parliament, the elected representatives are marked for the whole of Kashmir, which I hope and pray in the near future. Whenever it happens, I look forward to a day the elected representatives come from the whole of Kashmir. Even from what they currently call the POK occupied Kashmir, POK, which probably they say the last village is Turtuk. Now the second way of looking at it, madam, I always say economics trumps politics, because economics should be one step ahead of politics. Because India is not a country that takes things lying down now. Because we are a fast growing country, $5.1 trillion we are hitting now. 2030 we should be hitting $10 trillion. Then possibly you're looking at a country, by the time our kids graduate and their first job by 2030, they will live in this country where we will be the third largest economic power in the world. You will have US above you, you will have China above you, then you are there. So right now we are the fifth largest economic power, because you have Germany and Japan ahead of you at position number 4 and position number 3. So 2030, once you hit 10 trillion, once you become an economic powerhouse, you don't see this kind of geopolitics. Geopolitics will change. Because again, getting into it, you have to understand the global players. China is a global player at this point of time. The Americans are a global player at this point of time. The Russians are a global player at this point of time. Whether you like it or not, these are three preeminent global powers at this point of time. And India is slowly getting into the territory where we have almost reached. Once economically we become strong, we become the third largest economy in the world, then India is also a global player. Nobody is going to stop you. Once you become a global player, again things will change. Because if you look at the previous American administrations, they always used to appoint somebody called an interlocutor, Indo-Pak. They always used to hyphenate India and Pakistan together. And even United Nations in most of their resolutions, Indo-Pak will be hyphenated, meaning This problem, people are treating as an international problem. That is why United Nations wanted to jump in, wanted to solve this problem. Now, thanks to our firm stand, though Pakistan wants this to be an international problem, we believe it is a problem between two countries which needs to be settled. That is the stand to which all the global powers are coming. America slowly has almost come to that realization. This is not an international problem. And Russia is very clear this is not an international problem. At this point of time, China is believing this is an international problem. So that has to be solved. Again, India rightfully wants to be a permanent member of the Security Council. And rightfully so, and many of the global powers believe India has to sit in UN in a Security Council. So everything has to happen, madam. Once economically you become a giant, you become big, the per capita income of our country rises. There's nothing called poor in our country, and we become a self-sustaining economy. Then all those things will start happening. And the problem is not here. We have parts in Arunachal Pradesh also. And you have parts, what you call the Tibet problem also. I'm very sure economically you start doing very well over the next few years. Then economic trumps politics. And more importantly, like somebody said, again the Chief Secretary sir said, I look forward to a day where people with the passion and patriotism for this country, they start serving this country as politicians. That is very important. Caste, creed, religion, this kind of politics will give way to politics of development, to politics of nationalism, politics where you always put your country first. You don't have petty fights over your country. And you be in any political party, that doesn't matter, madam. When you go to the parliament, you cannot compromise on your national security. Every single political party should be in one side. You cannot compromise on army. Every single political party should be on one side. You cannot compromise on internal law and order situation. Every political party should be on one side. So when this happens, then truly the political parties, the members become patriotic. Right now it is not happening. There is a lot of difference among political parties with respect to army. Agniveer, you have just seen what has happened during the Lok Sabha elections. I look forward to a day where political parties stop politicizing on our army. The political parties stop politicizing on the internal law and order situation. The political parties stop fighting over the foreign policy, because this has to be the voice of 142 crore Indians. 142 crore Indians have to speak in one voice. This is my country. This is my policy. I am not going to sacrifice on my army spirit. I am not going to sacrifice on this. This I hope will also start happening. This has to happen. Matured politicians, statesmanship politicians, when they go to parliament and assemblies, they always put the country first. And more importantly, I come from a state, Tamil Nadu. For a long time, the politics of my state was revolving around secession from our country. And the current political party which is ruling Tamil Nadu, late 50s and early part of 1960s, they felt a separate Tamil Nadu is the solution. Till the parliament said, I am going to bring an amendment. Any political party talking about secession in our country, you will lose your political party status. The current political party which is ruling Tamil Nadu, then it chose not to speak about secession. So we have a lot of problem in our politics in our state also. For example, I want the army to be given the highest respect, which certain political parties don't give now. That is a daily fight. And we believe when an army soldier lays down his life for the country, every state should compete who takes care of their family better. If one state says, I am going to give 1 crore, money actually doesn't matter. The other state should compete. I will give 2 crore and take care of their family. Not only that, one government job. Not only that, taking care of education expense for their family for eternity. Not only that, taking care of their family well. So this politics, when it comes, then the politics of nationalism almost comes in. So that is not happening. I still remember when an army Jawan loses his life and comes back, when the mortal remains comes back, I look forward to a day where people should line up the street. Lakhs and lakhs of people. You be whoever you are. Just the only job on that day is to leave everything, be there for that family, pay our last respects. Lakhs and lakhs. I'm not talking about thousands and thousands. Not hundreds or hundreds. It is army's job to come and then they will do it. No, madam. When all these three things happen, then we got our politics right. Somewhere now I can speak for my state. The politics with respect to nationalism is not right. And we are working, a lot of us are putting our best effort to make sure this becomes right. So everything have to happen together. Though it is a very complex, but one solution cannot give you, madam. When you talk about POK, when you talk about this, economics have to come. You should have responsible politicians in the parliament. The politics of a state should have a national character. When together we do this, then we will not have terms like POK. We will not terms like India, Pak, hyphenation. So I'm sure maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, we are slowly moving towards the territory. It should happen, it will happen.
Wonderful. So, sir says it's country first and nationalism. So, based on that, I would really like to know how should we inculcate nationalism in all the young generation today? What procedures have to be taken? Where should it start from?
There is this very famous quote I read when I was a young kid like them. It says, at 20, you are an idealist. At 40, if you are still an idealist, you are a fool. Because the ways of life change a person from their idealism. And these guys right now, the kids who are sitting here, are extremely idealist. There's no doubt. Not even 1% here, you cannot say that he doesn't have idealism at heart. And every single kid who's sitting inside this hall, everybody is patriotic. There's not even a 1% doubt somebody is not patriotic. And every single kid who's sitting inside this thing right now, they put their country first. Not even a doubt. But the problem is, they'll be leaving this campus in about 6 months, 1 year's time. They'll be seeing the real world. That is where the problem comes. And this kid should always have that confidence that taxpayers' money is wisely utilized. That is number one. You cannot have a situation in our country that honest person, I pay my tax, somebody doesn't pay my tax. The law is very slow to catch them up. So these are the things they will see. The first day the auditors will come, somebody will be big in their life 10 years from now. The auditors will come and say, can I talk about tax exemption? and moment we are earning okay, we can take care of our family, we can take care of our kids' education. I don't think what is tax exemption. You are paying it for the country. And the country needs to put roads and country needs to pay for the armed forces, take care of them. Even if you are a 100 crore guy, you are earning so much, the auditor will earn a money from you but just by talking about tax exemption. A country shouldn't talk about tax exemption once you are reasonably okay. Once you are able to take care of your family. I think they'll be seeing that. And after a point of time, they'll be seeing corruption in their lives. Then the question they'll be asking is, I am giving so much to my country. Is my country giving back anything to me? Moment that questions come, we are in a dangerous territory. I am giving so much to my country. So all of us, we pay a sacrifice, madam. It is not that every single person, they give something to that country. At a point of time, inflection point, somehow you think the country is not treating you well. As a citizen, you are not getting the services. As a citizen, you are not getting a police that is ramrod straight. As a citizen, your public transport is not good. As a citizen, when rain comes, you see water in the road. You just have to walk. As a citizen, you feel thousands and thousands of crores stashed away somewhere. That is the time, probably mid-20s or early 30s, when they ask this question to themselves, is my country treating me fairly? And that is the time this kind of moral dilemma comes. I hope and pray the kids who are here will always ask this question. I will never ask what the country is going to give to me. I will always ask what am I going to give to this country. Because you cannot have this question ulta. Because you ask this question reverse. Because the country will always have some bad individuals. And nowadays in TV, the bad individuals get shown more than good individuals. No TV camera has got time to visit all the 4 Naris sitting here and do a follow-up story. After 25 years, how is their family? I don't see any TV channel doing it. That is a story for me. That is a positive story for me. Going and talking to those mothers, doing a story now, asking, how are your children doing? Are they okay? Do you have any problem still? Do you think the government has to do more for you? Everything is great. Everything is okay. So that story will not come. You switch on the TV from morning till night, it is all bad news, more bad news, and amplified bad news, fake news. And that somebody fighting here, somebody fighting here. This politician said something about them, the other person will respond. So this kind of stories will never make a great nation. The current stories that is shown in our Indian television from morning till night, this is not going to build a great nation. Because you show a handful of bad guys. 99.99% of this country is made up of good people. Honest taxi drivers. Even a Uber, Swiggy guy who honestly earns money by traveling in this and giving my food. A honest watchman who stands outside CMR and does his duty for 12,000 rupees. I'm talking of honest people. But somehow in the visuals, this honest people don't come into my eyesight. So that is a problem our kids will go through. 28 and upper 30s. They will see this bad news getting amplified. So even that time, they should ask the question to themselves, I don't care what the country is giving to me. What am I giving to this country? So because this country has made sure it has withstood so many things over 20,000 years. It has seen so much invasions. It has seen our wealth getting plundered. But every time this country has risen up, because there was always a guy who stood up and said, what more can I give to my country? Since somebody said that, every time you bounce back, the next generation is having the fruits of their labor. I hope and pray they continue to be idealistic. If people call them fools for being an idealist, absolutely okay with it, no problem. Let them be fools for being called an idealist. By not paying corruption, if they want to suffer in life, let them suffer. By not paying a bribe money, if the traffic constable is making them to wait for 3 hours, let them wait, because that's how the country changes. And every time you take a shortcut, the traffic guy will always say, you pay 300, immediately I'll leave you. You pay 100, you have to go to the court to pay the challan. How many times people get this question? That is your first test of Satya Sodhanai. That is your first test. The moment you pass the test, nobody can take this country back. The first test is, do you want to pay 300 instantly, or do you want to pay 100 rupees in court? Knowing fully well, our citizens should say, okay, I'll pay 100. Sorry, I made a mistake. I didn't see the no parking. I didn't see left turn. I didn't see this. Then they go to a court, wait in the court. Their name will get called at 2:30. Then the challan goes there. 1 full day gone. Their earning capacity of 1 full day, 1,800 rupees or 2,000, paid holiday, whatever they have taken. If they are willing to go through that sacrifice, the next traffic constable will know, oh, they have become fools in our country. They have become idealists in our country. Nobody wants to pay 300 instantly. Everybody wants to pay 100 in court. This country will change. So I hope and pray, in the next 10 years, the kids here will go through multiple things. Will go through thousands of things in their life. And they have to pass through every test, madam. That is important. They have to pass through every test. It starts today. After this lecture, after this event, after seeing the Nari sitting here, if they have taken one resolution to say, I have taken some shortcut from tomorrow morning, I am not going to do that. One resolution. If the kids are taking one resolution after leaving at 6 o'clock, whenever this is ending, I will not take a shortcut because my country suffers in the long term. Because the shortcuts you take, the repercussion will always have in the long term. If they do it,
I see the discussion already happening among the young generation. Have you taken a resolution today? Yes? No? Sir, how can we make more annamalais like you? Yes.
Madam, we are normal human beings, frankly to be told, and we all make our share of mistakes. And we all have, I'm not giving you a very humble answer, I'm giving you a straightforward answer, madam. If somebody has asked me at the age of 21, as a police officer, I've gone to Siachen for training, the lower Siachen, to see the suffering they go through. We have a 15 days army attachment. And if somebody has told me at 21, probably I come from a small village, exposure to army is very less. Nobody told me about a short service commission, which on my own I learned after 25. If somebody has shown me the trailer of everything this is happening, will you join the army? I don't think I would have got the courage at 21 to do that. I'm being very frank and honest. So many a time we got to appreciate and understand who are our heroes. I am a visible person. I come in TV, I debate, I discuss, I talk so many things, so I come in TV more. But there are thousands of people better than me who don't get the TV space or a media space or a paper space. Now, my only, I'm not being very humble, ma'am. I'm being very straight and very forthright. My only request to all my young friends is, and your heroes are all around us. Somehow, we just pass through them. I remember, in my book I've written, when I was a when police constables used to work for me, in Bangalore, I asked a guy, one day in the roll call, he came late, about 10 minutes. I asked him, why did you come late? Roll call generally happens at 7:30 in the morning in police station. All the police constables come at 7:30. He said, my house is 2 hours away, so I came late 10 minutes. I'm sorry, sir. That put something in my head. I asked him, why is his house 2 hours away? As an officer, my house is 3 minutes away. Meaning for 7:30 roll call, I come at 7:25. I'm there at 7:30. But my constable who's serving me and serving the society, his house is 2 hours away. This led to a lot of churning. I started asking all of my constables, why you are living far? Then one guy said, no sir, I don't have police quarters. Then I have to take a house on rent. For the kind of salary I get 30,000 rupees, I can't take a house of 12,000 rupees, 14,000 rupees rent. I literally go outside Bangalore to a neighboring district. There I get a house for 8,000. I have decided that 4,000 extra should go into for my kids' education. So 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours going back in the evening, that 4 hours is worth, because that extra 4,000 has to go to my kids' education. I've written the book about the constable name also. Now we have to understand, this guy who could have taken 10,000 rupee bribe, that in a city like Bangalore it is very easy. But this guy chose not to take it. This guy chose to put pressure on himself because he will travel the 2 hours extra, not to rent a house inside the city, just because that extra money he felt should go to his children for 2 children he had. This is a hero for me because he does 10 times more than what I do. I have my paraphernalia, cars and 10 constables to salute and government to listen to you. But this guy, nobody listens. Unless in a roll call like this, you just hear a part of his story. So, but this guy we pass every day, madam. Every day we pass. He'll be standing in some hot sun wearing a cat hat. He'll be standing there with a varicose vein in his leg. A traffic constable does his duty for more than 10 hours for more than 2 years. The chances of you getting a varicose vein is very high. So you see him, but you will not see the varicose vein because he's wearing a pant. So probably you might have a government service, a nurse who does her work so well, so professionally, but we chose to ignore her, or a government public transport driver. So what I am trying to say, madam, it is time that the society reorients the concept of heroes. Now who is the hero? The Instagram number 1 in the world, 370 million followers, Cristiano Ronaldo, Virat Kohli, multiple million followers. Of course, they give happiness, they give a lot of joy, they give a lot of pleasure to us, no doubt. In a mad and chaotic world, I want to see Virat Kohli's batting, it gives me a lot of happiness. Or I want to see Cristiano Ronaldo's football, fantastic. But that should not mean the society consciously ignores the other heroes. Every time I remember in Western countries, especially in US, I've seen when an army man walks, most often than not, I have seen 9 out of 10 times the public gives a respect to him. Yes. 9 out of 10 times. I look forward to that happening in our country also. 9 out of 10 times.
Thank you.
You don't even know that guy. You don't even know who is, but he's wearing a uniform for my country. I will stop and say, how are you, sir? Thank you for your service, sir. There are often I keep hearing the words in America, thank you for your service, sir. I think this we have to do. Only then the juniors will do. As people, when we see an army guy, just stand up. Whatever work you're doing, just put it aside. Or a fire service guy, or a police guy, or a constable, or a nurse, and say, thank you for your service. That is the only thing which will give that extra motivation to take the next bullet. Because he's ready to take the next bullet. That extra motivation to tell them,
Great.
We value your sacrifice. Wonderful. I think once we start doing it, the society as a whole will undergo a transformation. It's a silent transformation, madam. Silently it will break. Then the kids will become very idealistic. They'll become noble. Then they quoted Vivekananda ji. I think our directors are quoted, cinematographer, hope you become director soon, sir. Our cinematographer, Sendilana, he quoted Vivekananda ji. Vivekananda's ultimate thing is sacrifice. Every single time sacrifice, and many of them don't know, because I come from the land where Vivekananda ji probably got his nirvana, if you look at that term. So 1893, he came to Kanyakumari. There was big rock there. If I remember the date correct, it is December 11. He asked a fisherman, how do I go to that rock? That rock is about 2 kilometers away from the shore. Yes. It's very severe turbulent water. Somebody said, nobody has attempted to go to that rock. Nobody has attempted to go to that rock. So you can try swimming to reach that rock. I'm talking of 1893. 1891, 93 the speech happened, 1891, December 11. He jumped into the sea, swam 2 kilometers, climbed up that rock, did tapasya for 2 days. That is where he got the vision of Bharat Mata, what the country has to do, poverty and everything. In 2 days he sat there. Then the passerbys got worried. Why is this guy sitting there in that rock for 48 hours? Hot sun, just sitting there. Then they have to take a boat. The story goes. Then they have to take a boat to bring him back. If Vivekananda that day has thought about, the water is so turbulent, why should I jump? Because he has had this inner calling, I have to go to that rock. That is the Vivekananda rock which a monument is built there. And what I am trying to convey through this is, sometimes our youngsters have to jump, not worry about consequence. Just trust your skill and talent. Just jump into that water, keep swimming.
That's the thing.
It will inevitably take you to a place. And God has got some idea for everybody. And again, a gentleman, when he spoke, he said, somebody is corrupt. The family is questioning, he is corrupt. Why is he become corrupt? He being corrupt is useless to us. And India, corruption is a big problem, madam. It's normally we speak nice things in an audience. We all speak great things, nice things. We don't take that monkey out of that bag and leave that monkey to say, look, here is a monkey, ugly monkey. But till we kill corruption in our country, then corruption also kills patriotism. Corruption also kills a sense of service. Corruption also kills a society's bonding. And you got to eliminate corruption, because corruption root cause again comes from shortcut. And moment we start doing that one after, I'm sure this generation will do that. It's a matter of time. Only that mind has to shift 1 degree to say, I'm not going to accept it. Moment they do it, I think we will be living in a beautiful Bharat, the original Bharat which we always wanted to.
Well said, sir. Corruption kills patriotism. So let's vouch that we will have a corrupt-free India very shortly. So now we'll take some questions from the audience. The floor is open for the audience. Anyone who'd like to pose a question to our leader? Our dignitaries?
Hey. If you show of hand, raise of hand, and the mic can come to you. Right, please stand up with the hand up so that we can get you the mic. There we go. Right, one on the back bench, the one in green, one here. Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, would you like to ask something? Sendil, sir? Any question for Annamalai?
Madam, we have this boy ready. Yes.
Oh, right. So something for our audience in Telugu?
Such a beautiful language, madam. I can only say Bhavunara at this point of time.
Yes. ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கீங்க sir.
Good afternoon, sir. It's an honor to have you on our stage, sir. Sir, you did your studies now, sir, at the beginning, before you attempted for UPSC and went to the place. While you were studying, didn't you ever think that money is a major point in the life? Like you transformed from the career you had, the studies you had, to directly to UPSC, and after that you became a politician. Before that, didn't you think that money was the matter? It is the first solution for my problems in my life. Didn't you ever think that, sir?
Thank you, brother. You can have a seat. Thank you so much. Most of the time, I personally believe money is never a solution to your problem. Money is the problem. So most of the times. I'll tell you why.
Wonderfully said.
I'll tell you why. Because our culture, if you look at Sanatana Dharma, the culture, the Bharatiya culture, if you look at the whole culture, it is always built on need. It is never built on greed. The whole culture. Again, if you go very deeper into Sanatana Dharma, if you look at our religious scriptures, it always says, your income, you divide it into 6 parts. You basically keep 1/6. If you want to live an ideal life, 1/6 you divide. 1/6 goes to savings. 1/6 goes to service. 1/6 goes to teachers. There are a lot of people who talk to you, and 1/6 goes to them. And 1/6 it goes to the people who serve you. People will keep serving you. So we just clearly divided our life into 6 parts, the money that we earn. Which was always, because what we call caste now, which after British have become, it has become upper caste and lower caste. The caste in India was always a symbiotic bond between individuals. That 1/6 you will give it to somebody, some 1/6 will come to you, so that the whole village will live happily. The priest is there is a farmer who is cultivating, and there is a person who is serving the village, which you are given different names as Brahmana, Shudra, Kshatriya, you are given different names. Now everything is so symbiotically interlinked, the money keeps getting transferred among them. Once the modern trade and practice started coming in, that is the time from need it became greed. I simply wonder, with no offense to anybody, if you look at people who have more money, one house is enough, you have built a second house, probably a third house, 2 houses on EMI. You keep that guy in the one chair. One guy happily living in one house, you keep him in one chair. Since for you the concept of saving is essentially accumulating money because you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow morning. 1 crore is not enough, 2 crore is not enough, 5 crore is not enough, because we are not sure what is going to happen 1 month from now, or what is going to happen if I get 50 years of age, what is going to happen if I become 70 years of age. That is one, this society has got something called a collective insurance. The government is a collective insurance because the government will take care of you. There is a public hospital. You need not worry what will happen to you at 50 years, 60 years, because the society through a public hospital will take care of that. 100 rupee, 200 rupee, 500 rupee surgery. Don't worry about your kids' education. The society through the collective insurance, we will take care of your kids' education at a reasonable cost. Once this got broken down, so we should not speak bad about people who want to earn money. Earning money is a skill. Probably I don't have a skill. Since me not having that skill, I cannot say our Reddigar who has earned so much money is bad. No. You have to understand. He has got a skill. He has got a skill. And he has decided, I am going to put my money for societal use. Who builds this many colleges? 15,000 kids now in 2 square kilometer area. 5 engineering colleges, 1 medical, 1 pharmacy. Then people also decide, how am I going to put my money to better use? Him earning the money is not a sin. Him not spending the money wisely is a sin. So let us not demean people who have money. At the same time, let us appreciate people who live within their need. It's a complex question to answer, brother. It's a very high-end philosophical treatise. That is why communists came in. Since we couldn't solve the social versus individual problem, then Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. He said we will solve the problem by communist method. Since he couldn't solve it efficiently, then the capitalist treatise came. They said we will solve it efficiently. What I'm telling you is, it is a personal choice you have to make. Personal choice you have to make. Narayana Murthy, despite so much wealth, he cleans his own toilet. Which means for him money doesn't matter. I have 30,000 crore, I have 50,000 crore. For me, after 1 crore, nothing matters. Because it is going for society and happiness. I'm going to do something. For a guy with 1 crore, like my constable, or 1 lakh with my constable, like my constable, honestly he has earned. Spending it wisely, for me both are same. Or somebody like a Reddy Garu, they've earned money, but they decided to spend it for social good. So it's a complex way of thinking. I hope and pray the question that you asked now is a sign of your thinking. My answer is only one answer. If you bring Subramaniam Garu here, he will 100% give you a different answer. If you bring K.K. Senthil Kumar ji here, he will give you a different answer. If you bring the army people here, they will give you a different, because for them the concept is different. Army guy, the day he joins the army, he knows at 60 years what is his pension money. Because they know it's a certainty. Then the society has to take care of them after 60. With their understanding, they are inside that army, because you serve us, we will take care of you when the time comes. So each of us will look at this problem very differently. So all I am saying is, keep this discussion going. Probably over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you will start paying attention to what money is. We have to understand, 1 rupee should be 1 rupee. When it becomes greed, 1 rupee becomes 100 rupee. Because you want to accumulate that 1 rupee also. So life will take you through a process. You will understand money for what it is. At the same time you need money. At the same time you don't need excess money. What is excess money? For me different, Reddy Garu different, Subramaniam sir different, Senthil Kumar different, army guy different, army person different. Because that excess money for somebody could be 1,000 crore. That excess money somebody could be lakhs. So I hope and pray you going through the process of life will have a real understanding about what is your life, what is the purpose, what is money for you, how much importance you should give it to money. Then you will make a call. My answer is based on my experience. So your experience is different. But the end of the day, it should give you happiness. Having more money should not create a problem for you. Right now, I see more people having more money. I see a lot of more problems only. I'm not seeing less a problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The question was answered.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
பேசு தமிழா பேசு குழுமத்தின் ஆன்மீக படைப்பு திருவருள் டிவி புது பொலிவுடன் டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல லிங்க் கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கு. கிளிக் பண்ணி சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க.
உலக தமிழ் சொந்தங்களுக்கு வணக்கம். நான் ராஜவேல் நாகராஜன். பேசு தமிழா பேசு வலையொலியுடைய வளர்ச்சிக்கு நீங்களும் உறுதுணையா இருக்கணும்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா இந்த வீடியோடைய டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய ரேசர் பே லிங்கை கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க. அந்த லிங்க்ல போயிட்டு உங்களுக்கு விருப்பமான தொகையை பேசு தமிழா பேசுவனுடைய வளர்ச்சிக்கு உங்களுடைய பங்களிப்பாக நீங்க கொடுக்கலாம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.